Let's just agree that this is it. Portland, Maine, I don't know where that is. Leave your bags in the car, keep it running. I won't pretend that I want these things. But Portland, Maine, I don't know where that is. And I don't wanna know. I don't wanna know.
Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-woo!
All right, welcome back to Morning Coffee with Rick Alexander. Today is a big day as we are opening registration for the second installment of the Clarity Academy. This is a 12-week course that I designed and launched after my own sort of bout with, we'll call it existential dread. Like I hit this point in my life where I was accomplishing everything I wanted to for the most part, yet would look around and realize that it wasn't making me happier in the least. And in fact, every year that went by without me really knowing what I wanted was creating this low-level anxiety that was kind of living below the surface and just kind of always eating at me. Finally, I had to come to the realization that not only did I not know who I was or what I wanted for my life, but I also didn't have any idea of how to go about thinking about those things. And then I hit a moment of clarity. So I remembered a year earlier I was considering getting a business coach, but I didn't want to spend the money. And I remember that she said to me, if you could spend this amount of money and 1 year from now have your life to be exactly what you wanted it to be, would you spend the money? Now, the reality is that the answer isn't only yes, but that I would spend almost any amount of money for that to be the case. But the survival mindset in me won, and I chose not to get a coach. The aha moment happened a year later when I was in such a low moment. The notification in my calendar from the previous year's coaching meeting popped up. And I realized in that moment that a full year had gone by, and not only was I no closer to the life that I wanted, but I was further from it. At that moment, I decided to get a coach and finally make the life change that I needed. I got a few coaches, actually, and the work that I did with them and the self-exploration that I did helped me not only transform my life, but I realized that I needed as many people as possible to learn how to think about their lives so that they don't have to keep accepting them as they are. So if you feel a bit lost or like there might be more to life, but don't know where to even start or what more even means, then the Clarity Academy is honestly probably for you. The last two sold out pretty quickly though, so if you're interested, I would hit me up sooner than later. If you want to chat about whether it's a good fit or not for you, hit me up at @RickAlexander_ or at Lionheart Radio on Instagram. Or if you know it's for you, head to rickalexander.com and click on the sign up link. There's also an info video talking all about the course, which has a ton more info on it. And then, of course, I'm always down to answer your questions. Now, to switch gears, today's topic is about the way that we show up in the world. There are a lot of factors that contribute to how you show up. There are your motivations, and they push you or drive you into what you want to do with your life. There are the basic human needs for validation, safety, and acceptance, and those also play a hand in how you show up in your world. And then there's also your internal narrative. This plays a role in not only how you show up, but also how you think you show up. And that's what I want to dive into today. See, because you have a psychological coping mechanism that is meant to essentially tell you that you're doing better than you are. And it's not in a cocky way. It's truly meant to keep you safe and keep coherence in your world. When that goes awry is when you believe yourself to be in a different position than you are. And if you don't really know where you are, you don't know what you need to do or work on to get better. A little self-awareness will go a long way when we're talking about this, especially when it comes to gathering up all of the different parts of your humanity and getting them to travel in a direction that you can be proud of. But there's also another way that your internal narrative affects the way that you show up, and to be honest, it's not usually that good. Like when you find yourself in a social situation or a networking situation or any time where you need to be present with other humans, you give off a certain type of energy. And the thing that I want to make you aware of today is the fact that your energy says more about you than your words ever will. So if you tell yourself you're stupid, you're dumb, you're crazy, or whatever other bullshit you've allowed yourself to believe, it's going to come out in the way that you present yourself, regardless of how good of a face you think you can put on. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I want you to be aware of the things that you tell yourself in private and just how much that is manifesting itself in your everyday life. If you want to do something great with your time here, you have to learn to believe that you actually can. The fake it until you make it thing doesn't really work because people know anyway. You know, I was at a talk last year held by Brian McKenzie, who I've actually had on the show, and he was talking about the work he's done on studying fear with Dr. Huberman, who works out of a lab in Stanford. Essentially, they spent a couple of days cage diving off of the coast of Mexico with sharks, and then on the third day, they were able to get out of the cage. First of all, bucket list times 1,000 for me, but that's okay. They used breathing techniques to keep themselves calm, but there was this one moment when all of a sudden the shark started acting all like jerky and restless and kind of flipping around. The instructor signaled for everyone to go to the surface, and when they did, he asked who was freaking out. One guy admitted that he was pretty scared, and he was instantly ordered to get out of the water and back on the boat. The reason is because although he kept under wraps any visible signs of being scared, the sharks picked up on his energy instantly. So look, I can't make you believe in yourself. I can't even change the things you say to yourself when you screw something up or you lose your keys. All I can say is that you believe the things that you tell yourself, and you can't always hide those things because that belief is manifested in the energy that you give off. And people, just like sharks, will see right through the facade. The energy that you give off says much more about you than your words ever will. And so my question for you today is, what is your energy saying about you? And finally, is it contradicting the kind of life that you want for yourself? And if it is, you got to learn to get your game face on way before you find yourself needing to use it. I love you, fam. Talk tomorrow on Morning Coffee with Rick Alexander.
I'm under pressure, I've been locked in here too long. Gotta make my fantasies real now. Sometimes I wonder if I'm working at a dead-end job, just spinning my wheels, just spinning my wheels. I know I'm gonna be okay, cause everyone's allowed to feel bad on a nice day. Remember why you're here, remember who you are. Never ever lose a reason what you're doing this for. I've been saying this for a long time. Don't let life pass you by. Dream a little dream and take it to the moon. Maybe I should take my own advice and not get left behind. Heads into the sky and scream your battle cry. Change the station yet, need time to get this into your head. You're gonna make mistakes along the way. You think you're spinning your wheels, just spinning your wheels. I promise that you'll be okay, cause no one wants to see you feeling bad on a nice day. You know why you're here, you're gonna be a star. Gonna show them what it takes to really make it this far. I've been saying this for a long time. Don't let life pass you by. Dream a little dream and take it to the moon. Maybe I should take my own advice and not get left behind. Heads into the sky and scream your battle cry. Saying this for a long time. Don't let life pass you by. Dream a little dream and take it to the moon. Maybe I should take my own advice and not get left behind.